Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another weekly dose of aviation. It's time to take a look at the best aviation videos of 2021 from the series, so enjoy! This plane approaching the runway in a nosedive. This is an approach used in combat to avoid gunfire. This military helicopter was supposed to fly next to a journalist for a news reportage, but it flew too close. Luckily, no one was injured. This Boeing 767 was taking off from an airport in Finland when the right-hand engine started to shoot flames. This was due to a compressor stall, and the crew shut the engine down and returned to the airport. They then landed safely, and luckily no one was injured. This plane landed in heavy winds, but while slowing down it tipped over. This United States Black Hawk helicopter had to make an emergency landing on a busy road in Bucharest.
Bine că-l pune jos, pune-l jos, frățică.
This happened during a training, and luckily no one was injured. This F-16 almost flew too low over a crowd of people while landing at an air show. This Airbus A321 was waiting to get scrapped when the stance it was on collapsed. This fighter jet flying low through a city. This American comedian called Jay Leno appearing outside the cockpit of a plane mid-air. He said he climbed out of the nose hatch just for fun and it wasn't planned. This pilot named Dario Costa attempting to fly his Red Bull race plane through a tunnel in Turkey. The stunt was a success, resulting in a world record for the first plane to fly through a tunnel. These pilots had to make an emergency landing with a wheel missing.
Okay, get out.
This Boeing 727 was overweight and could not lift off the ground in time. Luckily, it still barely managed to take off and no one was injured. These people were out on a boat when a plane passed by way too close. The plane was picking up water to put out a fire, and the people in the boat were not allowed to be in the area. This person laying down in front of a landing plane. This plane in Indonesia, landing in heavy rain, could not stop in time and overran the runway. Luckily, no one was injured. This person was paragliding when a glider started to fly towards him.
Jesus Christ!
Luckily, they just avoided each other. This F-16 passing by low. This plane had a bird strike after landing. These Spitfire planes were taking off at an air show when one of them struck the runway with its propeller. This glider experienced a ground loop and had to land in a field. This helicopter flying really low over a car. This RC plane taking off could not have gone more wrong. This Boeing 787 was taking off from Tokyo when one of its engines exploded. The pilots quickly aborted the takeoff and returned to the apron, and luckily no one was injured. This plane was going to land, but the pilots had forgot to put out the landing gear.
Yeah. All right. See that? He had a power to. That was close. And that is why gear horns are there.
These F-16s escorting a plane over Norway with a famous Norwegian football club on it. This helicopter struck a flying construction board. This helicopter picked up 4 people from the water and they hung on by themselves all the way back to land. This person filming a plane taking off really close to them. This guy jumped off a helicopter to skydive.
Luke Akins is on the skid. Watch him as they part company. Luke Akins now under penalty. The guy who jumped out of an airplane at 25,000 feet without a parachute landed successfully on.
This jet pilot doing a really steep turn, pulling over 9 Gs. This plane flying really close to a helicopter. This car chasing a plane down the runway. It's a U-2 spy plane that requires a chase car to land. This jet's flying by a crowd at high speed. This plane approaching the runway nose down as practice for a combat landing. This plane moving by strong winds.
Look at the airplane. Look at the Nashville. Look at Nashville. Oh shit, look at these.
This person with a jetpack flying next to an Airbus A380, the world's biggest passenger plane. This is how a solar eclipse looks from a plane. After a while, the sun came back. This plane lost one of its tires after landing. This pilot flying upside down, really close to the ground. This is an Alaskan bush plane, known for being able to take off and land in a really short distance. This plane creating a cool smoke effect after flying by. This fighter jet tried to slow down but couldn't stop in time and overran the runway. Luckily, no one was injured. This fighter jet had to avoid a flock of birds. This is how close planes get to people at Skiathos Airport in Greece. This jet's dumping fuel and lighting it up using its afterburner. This plane landed at an airshow, but while slowing down, the plane tipped over. Luckily, no one was injured. This jet turned into a flamethrower while starting up. This plane landing really hard at Bristol Airport. This Airbus A340 had to land sideways due to a strong crosswind.
Enderezalo, ahora.
Directamente hacia lo 8, notificaremos al final del rapto.
Perfecto. Por Dios.
This plane taking off from a city in Brazil almost took off too late. This plane's cargo door came open mid-flight, so the plane had to make an emergency landing.
Uy, maricas, sí, la puerta está abierta.
This F-35 taking off by using a ramp. This way, jets can take off faster. This plane landed hard in a crosswind. This plane doing a low pass while in a turn. This plane took off really late. This plane was about to land when suddenly another plane cut them off. This pilot accidentally released the drag chute instead of firing the flares. This plane doing a jet-assisted takeoff, which is using small rockets. These pilots had no visibility, so the plane had to land itself using autoland.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
The FAA is investigating this footage of a drone flying really close to a plane approaching Las Vegas. This Boeing 747 flying in a formation with fighter jets as a farewell to the last British Airways 747. This helicopter creating a huge dust cloud. This plane was taking off when it suddenly had an engine failure. The takeoff was aborted and luckily no one was injured. This helicopter ruining a park by accident while flying over it. This plane racing a car while flying sideways.
The aircraft always occupying the western side of the runway with the...
This jet taking off from an aircraft carrier using full thrust. This person told the others that he wouldn't flinch while a jet did a low pass over him, but it didn't really work out.
Shit, you want to be scared? He's gone down. Look, mate. Looking out.
This 8-year-old girl flying a plane and doing stunts on her own with her dad sitting behind her. This helicopter flying really close to a plane. This jet passing by and shooting flares. This plane waving its wings after taking off from the Airbus factory. helicopter was following a truck when the truck suddenly hit a jump and hit the helicopter. This MD-11 cargo plane was approaching an airport in Poland when the engine caught on fire. The plane landed and emergency services responded. This cargo jet, Boeing 767, was taking off from Tokyo when the plane's tail struck the ground. Despite this, the plane continued to its destination in Canada. This Boeing 777 had an engine failure, causing the engine to break apart. The plane made an emergency landing, and luckily no one was injured. This pilot showing that you can actually pour a drink while flying upside down. This emergency slide was accidentally deployed. This Boeing 747 doing a low pass over Los Angeles International Airport while carrying a space shuttle.
We'll let him go forward a little bit on us. We're not going to hit nothing.
Mr. 95 Heavy, contact Mission 1.
After 95 Heavy and flight switch to Mission 1.
Mission 1, back to Mission 1. 32-375.
This jet taking off fast from an aircraft carrier. This huge plane flying low over the Red Bull Air Race in Budapest. This plane landing with almost no visibility.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
This jet's doing a vertical takeoff by hovering. This is how fireworks look from the air. This plane had made an emergency landing on a highway, but after a while it took off again. This drone flying really close to the world's biggest plane taking off.
20 метров, 260 скорость.
Привет, промежуточно пока у нас. Хорошо. Кран поставим нейтрально. Нейтрально.
This plane doing a really low flyby. These planes passing by close to each other. This glider almost had a mid-air collision with a tow plane. This plane flying sideways at an air show with a motorbike jumping over it. These guys were filming their trip on a private jet when the plane started leaking fuel.
Nevidím ho. Ty vole, fakt?
They then had to make an emergency landing.
Let's go, pane bože, aspoň jsme na runway. OK, pomalinku, polehonku, dobře.
After they landed, first responders were on scene and the plane landed safely. This is how an F-35 breaking the sound barrier looks. This cool effect created by the plane engine. This plane flying low in a really sharp turn. This helicopter flying really close over 3 cars. This emergency slide deployed the wrong way. This plane trying to land on water. This plane flying low to drop fire retardant. This plane landing in bad conditions, touched down hard. This plane has 9 engines and can take off really fast.
Самолет ТВС-2МС, первый в России, один из немногих в мире действующий самолет с дополнительной электрической силовой установкой в виде такого.
This is a bus that looks like a plane. This is 4 hours of planes landing at a big airport. This plane came to a stop really fast using reverse thrust. This is where plane wheels are stored during flight. This jet firing rockets. This plane coming out of the water. This Blue Angels jet flying with its landing gear up. This fighter jet doing a very low pass. This jet falling out of the sky in full control. This is how a Blue Angels flight looks from the pilot's point of view. And this is how it looks from the ground. This Norwegian fighter jet launching a missile. This plane flying around 3 other planes as part of a stunt. This is how stunts look from a Blue Angels jet.
The two solo pilots exit behind the flag of the coming further with the little pull. Hello.
This helicopter shooting beautiful flares. This plane flying through a water salute. This is how landing on an aircraft carrier looks from the pilot's point of view. This person driving underneath a Boeing 747. This C-160 approaching in what you could almost call a nosedive, which is an approach used in combat. This Boeing 727 having some trouble getting off the ground. But then it slowly climbed and barely missed the trees. This airport got hit by a sandstorm, causing this plane to move. This Boeing 757 flying low and accelerating to show off its abilities. This plane approaching the runway in a steep turn. This Boeing 737 doing a low pass at an airport.
Przelot robią niski. Robią low passa.
Co oni zrobili nad pasem przelot? Idę do góry jeszcze raz. Nie, specjalnie przelot.
This person filming out of a car that a plane is trying to land on. This helicopter flying really low over a crowd of people. This plane taking off in the water came a bit too close to land. This jet showing off by flying low and then climbing almost vertically. And those are the best aviation videos of 2021 from the series. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll link all the videos I featured down below. Thank you guys for watching Weekly Dose of Aviation. And of course, I'll see you guys next week as usual.